Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Tangen. Millions of people take general psych, and for good reason. General psychology is a survey course. Surveying a parcel of land gives you a good idea of its boundaries and general topology. Surveying psychology gives you a broad overview of the area. It gives you the highlights of 10 to 12 separate classes. You've seen a sampler of chocolates. Think of this class as a sampler of psychology. You get a taste of many areas so you can decide which appealed to you most. In chocolates, it's a choice between caramels, creams, and nuts. In psychology, it's a choice between perception, memory, personality, and many other specialties. This course can seem confusing because you're jumping from topic to topic. They are all part of psychology, but seem quite different from each other. Just remember that each topic is an aspect of a real person. Think of it as learning more about yourself every week. You developed as a child, you have synapses, and you interact with others. So developmental, biological, and social psychology all relate to you. You should be aware that psychology uses names as organizers. When profs say they don't care about names and dates, they mean they don't care about unimportant names and dates. When you study learning, you'll encounter Ivan Pavlov and B.F. Skinner. There are thousands of studies on Pavlov's classical conditioning, and thousands more have been conducted by people all over the world on Skinner's theory of learning. Profs rarely care that you know who wrote those minor studies and when they occurred, but they do want you to be able to differentiate between Pavlov's classical conditioning and Skinner's operant conditioning, so studying big names matters. Interesting, some portions of psychology don't rely on names. Although theories of personality, counseling, and learning have big names, biological and physiological psychology are much less clustered by people. You'll learn how a neuron and synapse works, but not who discovered the processes. The actual mix of what is in general psychology will depend on the institution and who is teaching it. But the class will most likely cover these main topics. You'll probably start with a brief look at psychology's history and systems. Systems refer to the general philosophical approaches in the early days of psychology. One system looked for internal structures. Another group of people were more interested in how processes functioned. The history portion will show you that we've been trying to figure out ourselves for thousands of years. But eventually we came to the point of making a formal discipline of psychology. Wilhelm Wundt is given credit for founding psychology's first full-time experimental lab. He used the methodology of experimental physiology to answer the questions of philosophy. Wundt's work led to more research in sensation and perception, which is the second topic usually covered. For many years it was thought that people sensed the world around them, sensation, and they made sense of those sensations, perception. It was a bottom-up process. First you collect bits of stimuli, then you make sense of it. But it turns out that we anticipate incoming signals and use our brains to impose top-down rules on data collection. So it's not sensation, then perception. We do them simultaneously. Sensation is a part of perception, so many college courses that used to be called sensation perception are now just called perception. You'll learn about vision, hearing, pain, and pressure. The third topic covered is usually called biological, physiological, or neuropsychology. In this section, you learn about the brain, neurons, synapses, and neurotransmitters. It is the hardware section of the course. You learn how we're wired, how the systems are supposed to work, and what happens when they don't. Sticking with the bio theme, developmental psych shows how we start as a single cell, develop prenatally, and how we grow through infancy, childhood, and adulthood. You get a quick tour of the human lifespan. Another topic covered in general psychology is thinking and feeling. Thinking might be called cognition or problem solving, and feelings might be described as theories of emotion, but you'll learn about the interaction between emotional experiences and higher order processing. This section might also include a discussion of consciousness and sleep. The last half of the course is usually divided into 5 more parts: learning, memory, personality, abnormal, and social psych. Learning and memory are obviously connected. You can't remember something you didn't learn, and you can't learn if you have no memory. So these might be presented as separate topics or combined into one. Personality and abnormal psych are major components of clinical applications. In these areas, you'll learn theories about who you are and why you act the way you do. Abnormal will also include explanations of odd behavior, mental illness, and defects in mental processing. Social psychology is the last topic we discuss, but not usually the last one presented in class. This area includes the influence others have on us, why we act different in public, and how our thinking distorts our perceptions and influences our behavior. Although general psychology covers an overwhelmingly large amount of information, there isn't a lot of depth. It's going to seem like a lot of depth, but it's just a survey of the edges. There's much more to be learned. You can spend your whole life studying psychology, and as one who has done so, I found it to be great fun.